Hey guys, Iceplux here, and today I'm gonna place my thoughts on the never releasing Pyro update, just like every other sniper main meme. Now, it is no surprise that Valve has notoriously been a one-sided company, with barely ever getting players' feedback for updates. But with the Pyro update, we did get some slight insight into what it might look like, with the balance changes and a possible jungle mixture. But it is no doubt that Valve is taking their time when it comes to this update, as they know it will determine TF2's future. And what I mean by that is the potential amount of players that will leave TF2 if this update sucks. Because as we all know, 2016 was not a great year for TF2. Now, the fact that the Pyro update has been a year in the making is both a good and bad thing. Good in the fact that it looks like they are actually taking in feedback now and they're making sure to work out every nudge in the update, but bad in the sense of lack of content and their past history of such said feedback didn't really go down so well. This brings up the debate of the amount of time that should be spent on an update. Now, this debate is different for each company, as each have different content and each update their games at different paces. But for the sake of a focus, we'll be looking at TF2's update rate. So with any game, when it is first released, it is met with many updates and patches to keep players interested. But as we all know, TF2 is far from a new game. That's why we see a lack of updates, even though we still have a somewhat popular community, as no game before has maintained a consistent fan base for nearly 10 years. But to get back on topic, it is obvious that Valve's TF2 team doesn't have a great balance when it comes to updating TF2, and the team size does not help that, which to speculation is 5 directly working on the game and the rest being sound and art designers. But the argument of TF2's update rate is steadily gaining traction the longer we go without one. My opinion on the argument is that I prefer time took over quantity, as it normally produces a more polished product. But how much time? Well, I think there should be at least 2 to 3 major updates a year to keep content fresh and not stale, and also these updates being at least passable. This includes Christmas and Halloween events. With the rate of 2 to 3 major updates a year, they could take 3 to 6 months per update. But back to the Pyro update, it's obviously been worked on longer than it should have been, because as mentioned, players are going without content, and with that they get bored and are more likely to leave the game. That goes to also show the problem with how Valve operates. As everyone knows, Valve allows their employees to work on anything they want from TF2 to VR, and if you didn't notice the problem there, it's basically their choice between a 10-year-old game or new technology, which is why we don't see that many new members in the TF2 team. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that business model is wonderful, allowing game designers etc. to do whatever they want to do, but that leads to games being underappreciated, and along with that, the fan base. So if I were to fix this problem, I think Valve should specifically hire a designer for games that are man-powered. But if not that, then they should change their business model slightly to more custom everything. Like, for example, a limit of people that could work on a project, so that the access people can go work on projects that, as mentioned, are under man-powered. With that argument aside, I am now going to be talking about what I would personally love to see in the long-awaited Pyro update. So first, let's talk about Pyro. I would like Pyro to get a revamp, and that's kinda a given with the name Pyro update, but a good revamp. As in, don't change the playstyle too drastically, but make it more fair, like fixing the flamethrower distance as it increases with the more latency you have, and to balance weapons better. I would also like to see 3 new Pyro weapons, 1 for each slot. Also in the update, they should release something new for the MVM community, as I feel like it's been very dried up recently. So something like new maps and a second batch of Australians. I feel like the meta in MVM is just fine, but also putting in something new wouldn't hurt. With the Pyro update, they should also put out more fixes for TF2's competitive mode, as it's already dead and just filled with hackers and fresh meat. Like maybe a restricted class mode that fits with the classic 6v6 format, or to make a better incentive for playing competitive. And finally, I would like them to somehow mix the jungle update with the Pyros, as that will provide even more content since we've been waiting. And with the jungle update, I would like to see new unusual effects, taunts, etc., a new jungle/main themed map or maps, and a possible shot at jungle themed weapons, but that's just a stretch. Also, I would like to cover the jungle/Mayan confusion, as many think they are the same thing. but the difference is that one of them is officially being worked on by Valve and one is worked on by the community. So just think of Mayan as a community idea for an update, but that doesn't mean Valve won't include some Mayan assets in their jungle update, as both have a somewhat similar premise. But in summary, Valve is not currently in the best update position, as people are waiting patiently both in TF2 and in CSGO. Also, with the team being understaffed, it can be understandable that it would take a while to release a major update like the Pyro update. But this isn't an excuse, and Valve should fix the current issues regarding their company and shouldn't just treat Dota 2 and VR like their only child. Also, with that said, the debate between quantity versus quality is important for TF2's future, as it determines whether we get multiple bad to meh updates or one really good one a year. And that can really make or break the current TF2 community, as in the current situation people are left without content. So with all of that said, now is the time where I shamelessly self-promote myself. So if you want to have crappy memes in your timeline, make sure to follow my Twitter at iceblocks. Also, if you want to more interact with the community or with me, feel free to join my Discord. And you can also add me on Steam and chat with me if you would like to. Just don't ask for items, it gets really annoying. But anyways, like the video if you liked it and subscribe for more TF2 content. As always, stay fresh, my Freshies, peace.